culture is extremely important.
Alright, what's going on, everyone? It's Anthony here alongside Gabriel Russo, and today we have a very, very special guest, my mother.
Woo-hoo.
That's right. Today we have Marcia Valenzuela, the CEO and founder of the Valenzuela Group, alongside with also being a lawyer from UM. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
So I started at UM, like you said. I became a lawyer. I practiced labor law for many years, and then I had my second child. And I said, you know what, I'm going to stay home. We were able to do that. And then when it was time to go back to work, I said, what do I want to do with my life? You know, sometimes when you're in your 20s or you're in high school, you think, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. That's a process that lasts years and years and years. So you can be 40 and still say, okay, let me reinvent what I'm doing. Let me change it up. Let me change careers. You have the flexibility of doing that.
Definitely,
So yeah, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. And so I went into academia, and then from there, my husband, Ignacio, wanted to open up this brokerage. And so he brought me on board. And so it's the two of us getting together and creating an empire. I love it. Power couple.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Plus me.
Family
Yes,
business,
plus
of course.
you.
Can't forget.
Give me some credit.
Can't forget the third wheel. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Alright, so let's get into it, right? First question, how important is a company's culture, and how do you establish a culture?
So even if you out there don't believe that the culture is very important, that you'll work anywhere, it doesn't matter, you're focused on how much money you're making or your position or your relationship with the boss, statistics show that most people care about the culture that they work in. So if you're going to be a boss of your own company one day, you need to understand it might not be important for me because I'm a go-getter and I just do what I got to do. But for other people, especially people with an employee mentality, culture is extremely important. So as a boss, you need to put that as a big, big priority, top on your list. And you have to think, what kind of culture do I want to create? And you can research it. There's a lot of information and books out there about creating culture. But it has to go with basically what is your philosophy. So here, for example, in the Valenzuela Real Estate Group, we put our clients first. So it's a different mentality than some brokerages where here we think your client is number one. So you don't do things for yourself. You don't do things saying, this isn't so great for my client, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's going to get me more money. That does not exist in our philosophy as the leaders of the company. Thus, it's not going to exist in our culture. So we try to really talk to, culture. Creating culture is all about communicating the feeling and the philosophies that the leader has. So how do you do that? And here we do it in many different ways. We talk about it in classes that we have in our trainings. We put it up on our social media all the time. We have it literally on our wall, clientes primero in Spanish. We're always like talking about it. And when it comes down to it, and we will lose money if we could put a client's interest first, we better walk the talk.
Yeah.
And we do, because if you're just talking, hey, we're great, we love you, but you're not really feeling it and you're not really walking it when things get tough, then there goes that philosophy. You have to really live it.
And what happens if you're trying to instill a certain culture, like you said, but your employees aren't following that culture, like they decide to do their own thing?
Yeah. So we also talk about putting clients first when we interview people. So we are saying this is the culture that we have. Obviously, those people that are interviewing with us, they're interested in us for a reason. They've seen our social media. They come here to interview and they see what's on the wall. So they're coming in already knowing this is part of the culture. And we tell them the clients first here. Like, you have to really communicate it strongly if that's going to be your culture. Then if we see, which hasn't happened yet, because obviously you attract what you are. you know?
Yeah.
So people who don't really have that philosophy, they're not going to come and interview with us. But let's say somebody does, it hasn't happened yet, but hypothetically, if we see that someone's doing things not according to that philosophy, number one, don't get rid of the person. I always feel like have a meeting with the person, talk to them, and see if they're teachable, if they're willing to change, and you're able to mentor them. If in the meeting and thereafter you realize that person just wants to do what they're going to do and they don't see you as a teacher and they don't see you as a mentor, then there's nowhere we can go together. Like you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, then we can't grow together and start creating that culture together. So then at that point they got to go. So they don't fit in the culture. So, you know, again, you have to walk the talk. So if you have someone on your team that's doing something against the culture, you can't keep them on board because everybody else knows that that person is not on board, but you're keeping them. So you're giving out the message, this is our culture, but I don't really care if you follow it or not.
Yeah, not only that, but they're also a cancer, right? They spread to the other employees.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to get rid of them as quick as possible because next thing you know, everybody has the same culture idea as that person.
Yes. People who are miserable at work are just going to be complaining. And then, it's a cancer that spreads. Yeah, it's true.
And that's not an environment you want to be in. I mean, I could attest to that firsthand from an outsider looking in. You guys really do walk that talk. You guys are parallel to your social media, to your clients, to your, your realtors. You guys do walk that talk, and it's very impressive to see, again, from an outsider looking in, who wouldn't want to be part of a culture, part of a family like that. But next question, I know you mentioned employee mindset. So I just want to pick your mind a little bit. What's the biggest difference, in your opinion, between an employee mindset and an employer mindset?
So the biggest difference is that an employee wants someone to give them structure in their day to say, okay, what do I have to do today? And then I'm going to run with it and I can do it. An employer mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset, that kind of person has a vision and wants to implement things to get to that vision. So for example, this is all about self-awareness and knowing what type of person are you really. It's not about, I don't like being told what to do. It's not that, because nobody likes being told what to do, right? E.T. he has a book called You Ain't the Boss of Me, right? Because nobody likes being told what to do. So it's not that. If you're working somewhere and you don't like that, that doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur. It's if, for example, you walk into a restaurant to eat and you start thinking, oh, they could have done this better. They should, the music should be louder. The bar shouldn't be there. It should be over here. When you start having like a business mindset, like you start seeing the vision of what could be but doesn't exist. Even if you're at work, if you're working at an office and you're like, man, it would be so much better if the cubicles were over here instead of over there, and if the boss would do a monthly meeting. Like if you have that inside of you, you probably have entrepreneurial tendencies and you want to look into that. If you just go to work and you're just there sitting and complaining and you don't have a vision, then probably you might be more suited to be an employee, because really an entrepreneur has to really think, what is my vision? And then you have to lead people to that vision. Yeah,
that's huge, because I feel like a lot of people in our society definitely, they're either an employee with an employer mindset or the other way around, and I feel like they just haven't figured it out yet. And then some people have that mindset, like you said, oh, I don't want people telling me what to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're an entrepreneur, that they're going to own their own business, because they could be a horrible, person to set a culture or set, an environment around a community, like you were saying. So I think that's really huge what you're saying. Just, the difference between the two and acknowledging which one and having the self-awareness to identify yourself in each category.
Yeah, and an entrepreneur has to be very disciplined with their time, because nobody is telling you, wake up at this time, do this, go to sleep at this time. You have to be the type of person who is extremely disciplined, and you're willing to do things even if you don't want to do it. Even if you don't get, like if you're going to the gym and you hate it, maybe you're an entrepreneur because you have to do things that you don't like when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, comfort zones, you know.
Exactly,
Just
get
getting
out of your comfort zone.
I think a lot of people want the entrepreneurship lifestyle, like what it brings, but they're not willing to do what it takes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they see all this glamour and all the money that comes with being an entrepreneur, but they don't see like the process of. I think the most important thing about being an entrepreneur is that you need to enjoy the process more than the benefits of it.
Big time.
That's the only way that you can enjoy it, or else it's gonna be like hell for you. Like if you're not dedicated, you don't wake up, you decide to take days off, you're not gonna make any money.
Yeah, exactly. If you think, you know, your dream is gonna happen overnight, then, you know, you should probably go find a 9-to-5 job or try to find something else. Because a lot of people are in it for the long run, which is you're supposed to. You're not supposed to go day in, day out, grinding, hustling to, you know, each day, like, you know, how we were talking about the other day, kind of setting your short-term goals in order to attain your long-term goals. A lot of people just write down, I want to be a millionaire by 25. And it's impossible. Like there's a process to that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's huge.
Yeah, and for me, with this business and moving the business forward and trying to create an empire, I look at the little blessings and the little successes along the way, and that's what keeps me going. Like when things are going bad and there's just bad news, I think to myself, I just need one little blessing, just one blessing today to keep going. And the blessings always come. There's always, you know, when you're really doing things with the right intent to help people, we help our clients, we help our agents become successful. All of what we do is to help. The blessings are going to come. They're coming no matter what. But if you're in your mind thinking about the storm, you're not going to see that blessing that comes. So I always open my eyes and I think in the storm, I need a blessing right now. It always comes, and then that's all I need, and I focus on that one blessing instead of focusing on the storm. And that's what keeps me going to the next day. Not only going to the next day, but going to the next day with passion and happiness, and giving that to everybody who comes in contact with me.
Yeah, I feel like it's important, especially as an entrepreneur, to have short-term memory, because you could have, you know, a major loss yesterday, but like you're saying, you could have a major blessing coming tomorrow. But if you keep dwelling on the past, you're never gonna, you know, move to the future. You're never gonna move on, you know, past that loss. So I feel like a lot of people, oh man, I lost this amount of money yesterday, I'm never gonna make it. You know, the past is the past. You know, have short-term memory and look to the future and to see what your potential is, what you can, you know, what you can attain. Because again, I feel like too many people just dwell, and it's just getting them nowhere.
Yes, if you're the type, again, it's self-awareness. So if in your life, outside of business even, you are the type of person who dwells on something or is easily offended, entrepreneurship might not be for you. Because people are constantly like I said, bringing you blessings, but there's also people who are bringing hate towards you. You know, they're jealous, or they don't like how you do things, or they don't like you and your personality, whatever it is. You're exposing yourself to the world when you become an entrepreneur. Your business, you're exposing your business, obviously, because you're trying to market and make money. So you're exposing yourself. And with the good comes the bad. So if you're easily offended and if you dwell, you'll just go downhill emotionally, and that will affect your business. How you are emotionally affects your business.
And I think Gabe and I we're pretty trained for this, because since we played basketball with Coach Juan and Coach Steve, like they would always say, like, next play, like, you screw up and you do a bad pass playing basketball. The next play, like, I can't remember that I had a bad pass.
Right.
Like basketball's so quick, like you can't dwell on anything.
Right.
So I think that prepared us for the business world.
Yes, exactly.
For entrepreneurship, and also, you know, them being so hard on us all the time, like demanding 100% of our time on the court, like every day, prepared us for entrepreneurship.
It growed us into.
It made it normal to give 100% every day, because that's what I would do for 4 years playing basketball.
That discipline.
When
you don't want to get up and play basketball or practice,
that's why sports are so good.
You have to do it. Sports is a great analogy to business. Yeah.
And we had to. I mean, we had someone screaming at us if we didn't, but now we don't have anybody. So that's where that discipline comes in.
Yes.
Yeah. But I feel like what you were saying before, us as entrepreneurs, I feel like we always say, when we start to get negativity, when we start to get, you know, people hating on us, we're doing something great. You know? But I feel like if you have a different mindset, if you have an employee mindset, you might take that negativity and take that hatred, and it might discourage you. It might take it personal, and then that's what we're talking about again, having short-term memory, because again, whatever's held in the future is what we can attain, but whatever we done in the past and all the hate that people are gonna put on us, we can't control that. We just have to kind of zone everybody out and tune everybody out and just focus on us, and whatever they say, good or bad, we use that as motivation,
And Gary Vee says he doesn't listen to the good or the bad.
Right.
Like, you can't get too high on your own supplies and hear only the good stuff. Like,
perfect.
You're amazing, which you'll get that as an entrepreneur, but you can't listen to that, and you can't listen to the negativity. So it's hard that you can't really listen to either.
Right.
You can't listen to I love you, and you can't listen to I hate you. You just got to do your thing.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Just stay in your lane and do your thing, because the people who are like, oh, I love you, you're so wonderful, tomorrow they can say I hate you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't really rely on that, because when they turn and say I hate you, then where are you?
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't really rely on it, I mean, you can love it, like, yeah, throw flowers at me, but don't rely on it emotionally. And then the other thing about negativity, I learned from Elena Cardone. Look her up. She's amazing. So she says that when people are hating on you or something negative happens, you want to dwell on it, talking about dwelling, you want to think about it. But she says, do that for a few minutes. Get over that. Channel all that negative energy into, now let's create something beautiful out of this. Mm-hmm. So it's actually taking the negative and saying something beautiful is going to be created because this happened to me. So what am I going to create now? And so she starts using that anger and that frustration into, what am I going to create? So here, for example, just to give you examples, it can be, I'm going to create a new class for our agents that's going to be amazing. Or I can create that once a month, we get together as employees and we have a breakfast. Create something out of that anger. Like, you're not going to beat me. Mm-hmm. This isn't going to get me down. Actually, this is going to help propel me to help people.
Definitely. Boost you up.
Yeah. It boosts you up. And then all of that, dwelling on this, all that energy shifted over to creativity.
Yeah, that's good.
And to wrap things up, what tips do you have for people, for a lot of our viewers who eventually will be bosses and are leaders already, but potentially big time leaders that will lead millions of people? What tips do you have for them?
So the biggest thing is self-awareness, and know what is it that you like, what is it that you want to do, what's your purpose in life, how do you want to help people, how do you want to make things different for people. You can create a product or a service that helps other people. Like, that can be your business. So the idea isn't, I'm going to make money off of this. The idea has to be, how am I going to help people do things in a different way, right? Or how am I going to help them make their lives easier in some way? So if you start shifting that mindset to that, then you will last longer, because when the money doesn't come at first, you're okay with that, because you're on a mission, you're on a purpose, and stay the course. Stay the course. If that's your mission and your purpose, keep going no matter what. And it's so important to always know your purpose and to always say, how can I make people's lives better? And you don't, like I said at the beginning, you don't have to figure everything out now. Yeah. Just keep on that purpose that you have right now, and that's going to start developing into something even more beautiful, because you're going to attract people into your lives that are going to say, hey, let's do this and let's do that and let's do it this way. You're going to have allies. You're going to have certain partners that are going to make what you started into something even more and more beautiful in the future. So be open to that too. But it's all about, what is your purpose in life? It's not about making money. The money's going to come. Yeah. The money's going to come if your intentions are good, and if you have a smart head and you bring people onto your team who can make up for any of your weaknesses that you have.